Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into the Boxing Authorities. Joining me always at the desk, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Well, we had some big events, one big event kind of this weekend. We have a big announcement, though. Luther Dupree is going to be fighting Evander Holyfield in the next celebrity boxing thing. What do you think, Luther?
Jeez, listen, he looks so bad.
Yeah.
As I told you guys, you all were all for it, bringing these legends back, right? Listen, it's all fun until somebody dies in the ring, and Evander was this close. His reflexes are gone. I told you when I saw him training, he looks good body-wise, but his reflexes are gone. And now he always had a chin. He doesn't even have a chin anymore. It was disgusting. It was embarrassing to see him out there, 58 years old. Come on, look at him. He's just falling through the ropes, threw a punch and fell through the ropes. I was
thinking about that. He's never, all the fights he's had, he's never done that.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have his balance from the very beginning. Yeah. And that guy's not a a puncher, even, so it's sad. I'm glad Mike Tyson didn't fight him because Mike might have killed him.
We're going to get to that,
So absolutely disgusting. I don't like it. Stop letting these old legends come back. Who was approving this? Who saw Evander throwing punches and said it was okay? Yeah, there you go.
Going to make money on it.
He should not have been approved, but it was Florida. So,
Jim, your thoughts on the fight?
Well, this is America, and this is people have the opportunity to die in the ring if that's what they want.
Oh, there you go.
There's no way the referee should have stopped this fight. Evander Holyfield, he got caught with an uppercut. He went down. He lost his balance. He got up. He never got hit with another punch. He covered up well. Evander Holyfield's a warrior. He should have had that opportunity. If you're going to sanction these fights, at least allow the guy, you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
No way the referee should have stopped it. Evander was covered up. He didn't get hit with any punches. And I was very disappointed in all the people who paid good money to see the fight. Evander Holyfield would have came back.
Jim, that's not a bad point as far as if you're going to sanction it, then, let him fight. And he didn't get hit with any big shots, but I'll be honest with you. And I thought about you because I knew that you weren't going to like the referee stoppage. I'm glad. I give the referee credit because he was ready to go in, ready to stop it, and he didn't want Evander to get hit. He did it right, in my opinion. This isn't a 25, 26, 30-year-old Evander Holyfield. 38, he's 58, 59 in October. So I was okay with the stoppage. I didn't think it was going to be this way. I did think Evander was going to do better. You think back to who he was, and you think that same guy. And obviously, not that he was going to be that guy that fought Bo, but something. I expected better. When I was disappointed that it went the way it did. But I'll say this, I know what you're saying about this is America, and you have a chance. Okay, but I was glad that he made a nice chunk of change. Okay, they said he was guaranteed. I read somewhere he was guaranteed $500,000. And with pay-per-views and other things, maybe $1 million. So let's say he takes home $600,000 at the end of everything, okay? Now, he made over $300 million in his career, and obviously he's not doing that great now. He has a condo in Florida. He's not going to be able to buy his house back from Rick Ross in Atlanta. Okay, and there was talk about him. That was one of his goals, which ain't going to happen. And then after the fight, he said he wanted to fight Belfort again. He said, "I'll show him." Or there was talk about him fighting Mike Tyson. He said Tyson. Well, I hope he was thinking about fighting the Tyson who owns the chicken farm and not the Mike Tyson. Okay, but you have to look at it like this. You have to look at it like this. And there was a show on with Alex Rodriguez called Back in the Game, and Evander was one of the guests, and it's getting athletes or entertainers who lost their money back in the game. And Alex Rodriguez, who I respect a ton, had him some opportunities, got Evander some opportunities to work with companies to help his brand, to maybe deal with GNC, with his have a what are those energy bars and things like that. And he had that Lemonis guy who has a show, The Prophet, on CNBC. Anyway, he was trying to set him up, and it just kind of died on the vine. It never happened. Evander has to look at himself as Evander Holyfield, Inc. I'm not going to get in the ring anymore. I made a nice chunk of change. Let's say $600,000. I'm sure we could live on $600,000. Okay, but he can still make some money off of his name. Invest. Get in some businesses, some good businesses. Develop your brand. He still is a very popular fighter. He still is who he is, and he can still make a buck. Okay, again, he can't buy that big mansion, but don't worry about that, man. So you have a nice condo in Florida. You
How
just
much of that $600,000 go to back child support?
okay, but all those he's got 11 kids.
11 or 12. I thought it was 12. It's a lot. It's double digits.
Well,
But
six
listen,
different
Claudio,
women.
you're back in his pocket watching. I don't care how much money he made.
No,
in the
he
fight.
made it, he's done.
He
He
should
does not belong
he
in
should
the ring
not have been
anymore.
in that ring. You know,
He was
whoever
lucky.
approved it,
He was
I
lucky
don't
he didn't
care.
get hurt.
Listen,
You're right.
Listen, he got a name.
Okay.
Use your name.
Right,
Your kid,
right. I'm
let
with
your
you.
kid play football. He got a
I'm with
kid
you.
boxing.
Yes.
How you 60-year-old? You
Right.
fighting? Your son is fighting
Fight
in a
his
couple
son.
weeks.
He should fight his son.
Come on,
That'll
man.
be
This is
some money.
ridiculous.
I'm
Let these
tender
guys stop.
You look at tender heart. What you got, a little tender
I
heart?
don't want to
Luther's
see these
right.
guys in there.
Luther's
He
right.
looked horrible
Well,
in
don't
there.
watch it.
He
I
looked
wanna
horrible
see it.
in there.
No, you're
Well,
right.
you know what? Not a lot of people watched it.
I
They
will
watched
watch
the
it.
highlights of
I'll
this
watch
man
it.
flopping around, falling, getting knocked
But
out.
Jim, you and I talked
When I,
about
listen, when I heard him talk before the fight,
I know.
I said he shouldn't. He can't make a complete sentence.
Yeah.
You know, he says 8 different thoughts in one sentence.
right.
It's not good.
Oh,
He should
tender
not be
heart.
in there.
Oh,
Okay,
tender
but Jim-
heart.
He should be in there. And the referee did an excellent
He did.
job.
He did.
That referee did what he had to do,
Yes, he
stop
did.
the fight. He knew from the door
He was
that
ready.
Evander was wobbling
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
know,
that
getting through any
referee would
punches.
be bad for the rest of Vander. If somebody has something to do
Listen,
with it.
when your kids is calling you saying, "Dad, we don't want you to do it," and you're saying, "Oh, I'm not going to get hurt. I could defend
But the
myself."
baby
They
mama-
knew.
but
His
the baby
kids.
mamas
His
need
kids
the
knew.
money.
His
The baby
kids.
mamas need the money.
His kids said, "Please, Dad,
but Jim,
you're
well,
no
you,
good."
you and I talk about moving fighters and moving them properly.
here we go.
Okay, now after I saw what I saw, don't want Evander in the ring anymore. Done. But he did make a nice buck. He didn't get
pocket
hurt.
watching.
He didn't get hurt. He didn't get beat up. That guy Belfort, threw some punches. He didn't, knock him the hell and back. Okay, won the fight. It's over with. Now he's got to say, I hate the word realistic. I hate that word because people used to tell me, be realistic. This one idiot was supposed to be kind of family member. Not really. But he said, Claudio, you got to be realistic. I was being realistic. I knew what I wanted to do with my life. But again, Evander has to be realistic. I can't fight Mike Tyson. I can't fight anybody. I made a nice chunk of change. I think all his debts are paid. Now he can start being a businessman and making a good buck. But do you agree with that, or would you have him go back in the ring? I would
Oh,
not.
I would have him go in the ring next week.
To fight who?
Tyson. Anybody
Oh
wanna fight?
no, that would be bad.
pay
I don't think
for it.
anybody's going.
Why not?
I don't think anybody's going
He's
to
in
ever.
shape. The
His
man's in
career
shape.
is
He's in great
over.
shape,
The
but not
man's
to
in
fight.
shape.
Not to fight. Not to fight.
If he wants to compete, let him compete in a senior citizen's body,
you go.
building contest.
You
But
will
no
watch
more
that?
fighting.
You
I'm
will
not
watch
watching
that?
any of that. I
All
don't.
right, I'll
not
watch
the men. I might
boxing.
watch the female
I'll watch the
bodybuilder.
boxing.
Not Evander and these guys.
All right,
but
I'll
no
be-
more fighting in
You
this
give
ring.
advice
That's
on
disgusting.
Things you would never watch.
Listen, but not only that, did you hear Victor Belfort after the fight calling out Canelo, calling
Wow.
Why
out these
not?
guys? I got $30 million for you.
No,
he's thinking he did something. This is
Who did
not.
he challenge? Oh, one of the Paul
The
brothers.
Paul brothers, he challenged Canelo.
Oh, I didn't hear
Yes,
that.
he challenged all these
Let's
guys.
not get too carried away.
Exactly.
You beat a 58-year-old man
A
who
60-year-old
didn't hit
senior
you.
citizen.
Yeah.
He in there with you guys. Come on, man. He in there with the senior citizen
Yeah,
club.
when Cash
and
is-
he's talking.
when
I
Cash-
want Paul. I want Canelo.
Who would you in between? Who would you think between Paul and Belfort?
You
don't care?
Paul. I don't care.
Yeah,
I think
really.
I think Jake Paul would knock him out. I'm not
Belfort, I don't know
impressed with
anything
this
about him,
Victor
okay.
guy. I've seen Jake
I-
Paul,
okay.
and this Victor Bell. You beat a sick. I don't know what he has left.
Yeah, but when
Evander was 60.
but when Cassius Clay be the 47-year-old Sonny Liston, that's all you see on
but
highlights.
Sonny-
That's all
only
you
on
see. That's all you see on
SMZ. You
highlights.
claim he was 47. SMZ, not this
But he still had something
Smokopedia.
left. When Evander threw that punch and fell, I said, "Uh-oh, not good."
He got caught with an uppercut.
He
No, I'm
almost
talking about when he-
almost knocked himself out. He
Right.
threw it so
He
wide
got
and fell
caught
through
with
the
an
steps.
uppercut.
Jim,
No,
think about
he
it.
did
All,
not.
all the punches that man threw, he never did that before. That fight he did, he fell. He just didn't have the legs. Father Time, as they say, is undefeated.
Undefeated.
And again, I repeat, he made his money. Be glad you didn't get hurt. You didn't get cut.
Did
Busted
you
up.
expect
be done.
Evander Holyfield to fight in the Olympics? He's 58 years old. He's
yeah, but
going
what's
to
that-
fight differently. He might have
He
did-
shouldn't be
He
fighting.
should. But when
You're
you're
proving
older-
my
It looked like
point.
he was going to do the rope a dope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
accidentally.
he went through. He almost went through the
Accidentally.
ropes
Accidentally,
on
yeah.
a punch.
But I felt bad. It was sad to see.
He almost got Bernard Hopkins knocked out the ring through the ropes. That would have.
like that.
You
You know
wouldn't
what?
like
When
that.
Bernard went through the ropes, he quit. When Joe Louis went through the ropes, he quit. Evander went through the ropes. That
He's
should
done.
be it. When you
Don't-
go through the ropes,
He
that
should
should
not
be
be
it.
sanctioned to fight
Evander
again.
talked to his mama. She said, "Come back and fight."
Well, I think, like I said, I think it's over. I hope he does well with his money. I hope now he gets the right people around him. You know, he had a boxing promotion, and I get on that show with Alex Rodriguez. They had 2 or 3 events. So Alex Rodriguez said, "Okay, Evander, how much did you make on those fights?" Evander said, "Nothing." And those guys said, "Well, we had some things to pay, and he should get paid first.
Yeah.
He owns the company."
Yeah.
And he just had the wrong people around him. Hopefully now I don't want to say learned his lesson, but hopefully now he'll get the right
Well,
people
he wasn't
around
going
him.
to fight, but, you know, after the Ravens had 3 running backs go down, they still cut his son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They signed Le'Veon Bell, cut his son. So.
Okay.
He may have a
gotta
future in the
fight.
CFL. Leave Evander alone. You know, there's 10 other ones that may come
I'm
around.
telling you. But there was another fight that night, and that's David Haye against Joe Fournier. And what was your thoughts on that fight? Or what were your thoughts on David Haye?
Listen, as I told you before, David Haye is a C-level fighter. He's trying to come back, looking for a payday.
yeah.
He's out there calling Tyson Fury. He's done. He was a couple months ago. He was training. Now all of a sudden he's going to fight Tyson Fury.
Right.
You know, I wasn't impressed by that victory. David Haye's just a C-level fighter looking for a check. Go back to training and manage it. That's he was better at that than fighting, in my opinion.
Smoking Jim?
Well, fighters know fighters. And David Haye been studying Tyson Fury for a long time. He knows
I have
the
too.
secret.
Hell, maybe I'll give it a shot.
That's it. He knows
Right.
the secret that he feels that he can beat Tyson Fury. He sees a little chink in his armor. And David Haye's only 40 years old. He's a young 40.
He looks good. Looks
And
great.
I would like to see him, you know, get back in the boxing a little bit, get his feet wet a little bit, and when the opportunity presents itself, have a big payday with Tyson Fury.
That's not. He needs to worry about Daniel Dubois or somebody like that if you claim you're coming back, because he's not on that top tier level yet. He's
But
not in
like
the
Jim
top
always
10,
says,
no.
the world's big. In the UK, him against Tyson Fury would be a big fight. They would.
I guess there's something else Luther would watch.
Now that would be interesting.
It's not
but
going to
again,
happen.
Do you like boxing?
It's not going to happen.
I thought David Haye looked
Fight.
good.
Get the heck
He was
outta
quick.
here.
His hands were good. Now he didn't go after the guy. They were friends, and it was there to make a buck. It was definitely an exhibition, which I don't know. I know that fight for Holyfield counted on his record. I'm not sure if the Haye fight did.
No, I heard it wasn't going to. They said,
They said 11 losses, his 11th loss.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought Haye looked good, but to fight a big man, he didn't do good last time he fought a big man with Klitschko, and Klitschko was,
Klitschko's different.
yeah,
different animal. Than,
But Tyson Fury and him, like Luther did say the phrase, it's just a money grab. It's just for a big buck. If he thinks he's actually going to, now if he lands a punch, yeah, anything can happen. But as far as him seeing something
he
and
has
studying,
no chance.
no, he's not.
No
that's not gonna
chance,
happen.
no
I'm convinced
future.
he has seen something. I'm convinced.
I mean, I've seen something.
just like Mikey Garcia seen something against Errol Spence, and got whooped.
Well,
that would
just
be
like-
the same thing that
just
happens
like-
to David
No, it's
Haye.
more like just what Muhammad Ali seen with George Foreman.
No, okay, don't even put that name.
But-
in
but
the
both- but
same sense. But
Ali
there you go.
was in
You
shape
better
and-
stop discrediting
it's
Muhammad
almost
Ali's
like this,
name
Jim. It's
with
almost-
these
Buster
average
Douglas-
fighters.
What Buster Douglas seen against Mike Tyson.
But Jim, it's like this: we can see something; those guys can see something, but can they pull the trigger?
I think he
That's the
can.
thing.
I mean, he may not, but I believe he got the
David Haye.
I
Well, he's
believe
still
he got
young.
the,
he's not out of shape. He looks great, and his hands
Who
look
has he
Fighters
beat
know
in his whole
fighters.
career? Who has he beat
fighters,
that's really
no
a top
fighter.
fighter?
Well,
You
he only
can't
gotta
name
beat-
one.
He only got to beat the one. He only got to beat Goliath.
Anytime he
only
stepped
gotta
up,
beat
he's
Goliath.
lost.
True.
That's
Anytime
all.
he stepped up, he's lost.
I didn't say it was an A. You said C. I'm going to go
C-level.
with B.
He's a C-level
I'm just
guy.
saying I appreciated his fights against Tony Bellew. I enjoyed them. I thought he was a
Tony
type.
Bellew.
I'm just.
He might be D level.
But anyway, it was a hell of a fight.
He
You're like,
lost.
don't listen to
How many
Luther.
cruiserweights did
All right.
Bellew lose to?
All right, I know,
Not
but it
only
was, I didn't
heavyweights,
say that.
he's Luke.
I'm
Come
just saying,
on.
go watch Haye Bellew 1. Do me a favor,
Two
fans,
C-
and then send me an email. Don't listen to Luther.
You're proving my point. Two
Good.
C-level fighters can make a good fight.
It was a good fight.
You know?
I didn't
But
say
that
Hall
doesn't
of
mean they're
Famers.
good. It's two
It was
C-level.
entertaining.
That doesn't mean they're good and can challenge for a title.
No, it was just an
C-level.
entertaining fight. I give them both credit. Okay, so how are you going to do against Evander when you fight him? How much are you going to ask for?
Listen, man.
And are
at
you
this
going to
point,
watch it?
Yeah, I will watch it.
At this point, he's 60. There ain't no 60-year-old man beating me. period.
Wait a minute.
After I saw
Wait a
that,
minute.
there ain't
You
no
beat
six-
Evander
There ain't no
Holyfield.
60-year-old.
Cut the tape.
Come
Let's
on, man.
Wait,
Come
you
on.
serious?
60?
Who's in your corner? I want to know who's in your
I
corner.
don't care. I might have you two in my
All right,
corner.
then that's a different story.
The boxing authority, they can give me that victory.
All right, that'd be good to see. That'd be good to see. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk about some other fights that happened this week, the Oscar Valdez fight, and we got a bunch of other things going on as always. Come back to the boxing authorities. Okay, a fight that had some talk, perhaps more out of the ring than in the ring, was the Oscar Valdez-Robeson Canseco fight. Luther, your thoughts on that fight? There was a lot of controversy about, a lot of people thought that Valdez didn't win. And some people thought he shouldn't even be in the ring.
Listen, I call him Oscar Pads. He failed a drug test twice. I don't think the fight should have taken place. One, and then he came, I don't know what happened. He blamed it on the T. I'm tired of the excuses coming out of Canelo's camp. Eddie Reynoso, what is going on? All your fighters look suspect right now. I'm sick of it. But not only that, I don't think it should have happened, but during the fight, he got beat. First round coming in, this guy styled on him. He stayed on the outside. Valdez almost didn't make weight. Also,
right,
I'm not convinced he even made weight. They had to weigh him a couple times, had the people stand back. Oh, 130. Yeah. But when he first got on that scale, everybody's eyes got wide and said, "Oh man, he's way over." Yeah. So that shouldn't have happened. That was two things. And in the fight, he got dominated. The jab was catching him. His face, got busted up. I think we have a picture of his face. And he said the guy was running. He was running his punches all through your face.
Running is one thing, moving is another.
Yeah.
He was not running.
And he was that jab was nice and tough.
And accurate.
And accurate.
And crisp.
You know what I mean? And if you look at the punch count, he doubled the amount of punches thrown. That Valdez
all the numbers
did.
Are for
everything is for him. He passed the eye test, he passed the pound, and he passed the face test. His face looked absolutely horrible. Definitely a robbery, and I hated it. It was a tough night for the sport.
Smoking Jim.
Well, I don't know what fight Luther was watching. Maybe you was watching the same fight, Claudio. But I had Oscar Valdez winning very easily. He gave away the first 4 or 5 rounds because the guy was a rabbit. He was running, but to take the championship, this is a champion. You got to beat the champion, and I thought he came on in the middle late rounds. I thought he won the fight very easily. I think the judges gave it 115 to 112. I had a little bit wider margin than that, but I thought it was a very easy fight, very easy for the judges to make their unanimous decision. I'm all for the judges.
Okay. I'll ask you guys a question. You mentioned a term that's used in boxing all the time, that whenever you're fighting the champion, you really have to beat the champion. I think if you win the fight, you win the fight. I mean, when you're a judge, in my opinion, I don't think the champion should get extra points. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't think, or extra respect, whatever you want to say it. Whoever wins the fight wins the fight. Because you hear that phrase.
Oscar De La Hoya in Trinidad, he had to fight, but he ran the last 3 or 4
Trinidad
rounds.
beat him. Come on.
He was so far up on points, and Trinidad.
But see, that was more of a philosophy, a game plan. I'm talking about from the judge's point of view.
It looked like the opponent had the same game plan.
But I'm talking about the judges. When you go to judge a fight, you say, okay, you know what? This guy's the champ. This guy's going to just have to beat the hell out of him to win. Or you take each round and who won the fight.
Listen, I think who won the fight. Yeah. Look at those scorecards. Those judges could not have been watching. 117 to 112. They had that card filled in before the fight.
Then we know that it was wrong. Come
on, that was ridiculous. And the other cards were too far apart. I had Canseco, he has a Canseco.
No, that's Canseco.
Canseco.
Yeah, we'll use
Canseco winning. You know what I mean? All these PD tops, I was thinking Canseco.
Jose Canseco, that's right.
But I had him winning. It was obvious. He was having so much fun. He was styling, throwing his jab up, showboating. But it's hard to beat a guy in his own city. You know what I mean? That was going to be tough. He had to knock him down, apparently. But he dominated.
First, you got to knock a champ out to beat him. Now it's hard to beat him in his own city.
Well, that's a fact. That's a fact.
No, it's not
what do we tell young fighters?
You said I
scored it, But a lot of these guys, these judges had to have the card filled out beforehand. 117 to 112, you weren't watching anything in this fight.
Where was the fight at?
In Valdez's home city.
Where's that at?
In his home city.
Where's that at?
Doesn't matter. It should not have been that wide of a card. I was really disappointed in that situation.
I think you guys will agree with this. You never know about Jim. You know, like in the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, they have a group up here that watches the referees, umpires, and how they perform.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if you don't do well, you hear about it. You might get suspended. Do you think that boxing is going to have one thing? Fine, but can we have something for the judges?
No.
You don't agree with that?
Because unlike other sports, the judges
It's
in
subjective.
boxing, listen, to go to just say amateur boxing, to go to the Olympics, you got to be the best of the best of the best to go to the Olympics. So these judges are the best of the best of the best.
Says
so
who?
you can't have somebody, any old Luther up in the booth.
But like if Luther's
no,
the
no,
head
right
guy,
now,
and he said, "Wait a minute,
you
how
can't
did
have
you
any
get?"
old
We can't have
Bring the guy in.
people judging biasly like smoking Joe, and that's what we have.
A judge in professional boxing is like a brain surgeon.
And
you
that's
can't
completely false.
You can't have your private care doctor up in the booth.
But let's just say this.
We've seen too much of this. We've seen
hurts the
family
sport.
members.
Hurts
We've
the
seen
sport.
people who should not be judging the fight.
Where?
Just this last fight.
Family members?
We've seen family members. We've seen cousins. We've
Did they
seen a
get
lot of people
kidnapped?
judging.
But
And
here's
that's
the
a fact.
thing:
And, you know,
why can't let's say Luther's the head guy, and you get a judge in. Luther judges a fight, and this guy judges the fight again. Now, if Luther says I'll give you a better example, and this happened to me. May of 2001, it was my first time as a pro scout scouting an event. Okay, so I was a rookie, and we had these other two guys that were veterans of the game, great scouts, the Rodriguez brothers. So when we're evaluating players, we do a 20 to 80 Major League Baseball rating scale. 50 meaning Major League average. If you have a 50 for an arm, that means you can walk on a Major League field right now and you fit in. You're a Major League average arm. Okay. What my worry was, let's say a player I felt was a 35, 40, and the Rodriguez brothers had a 20 or 25. That would have been too bad. You know what I'm trying to say? Or if I said this guy was a 50 and they thought he was a 30, I said, oh man, I'm not going to keep his job long. But at the end, this was in Atlanta. The same night, the Lennox Lewis got clocked by Rock Ramen. That's the crazy thing. Anyway.
A lot of nights for Lennox.
only
Just a
twice,
couple.
only
But anyway, real quick. So I'm doing my evaluations, and at the end of the night, it's okay, Claudio. What'd you have Luther Dupree? I had him in a 30. Rodriguez brothers, we had him in a 31. We were good. You know what I'm trying to say? It isn't like I had him at a 60 and they had him at a 20. Right. We were in the same ballpark. Get Luther Dupree, the judge, the head guy, the judge. Bring the judge in. Let's do the fight. Luther has the fight at 114, 113. The other judge has it 117, 112. What are you looking at? Then we have a problem. You understand what I'm coming at?
Judges can be removed.
Because you're hurting
Jim.
the sport.
Judges can
Yes,
be
they can.
removed.
Well, I had Baker Mayfield at 100, and some people got him at a 20, so that's a big mismatch.
But that was more of a personal thing.
Yeah,
Do you agree?
Your biases always get involved, Jim.
No, evaluations is very difficult. That's why judges are superior to the brain surgeons of boxing.
But,
There's
okay, you mentioned-
they have no peers.
You mentioned
They have no
Baker
peers.
Mayfield. Some people said
Greatest
he
of
deserved,
all time.
and yeah, some people say he's a first round pick, maybe lower first round pick, maybe high second round, but nobody said he was going to go in the 15th round.
Well, there's
not
a lot of
that
people said he
disparaging.
was
Am
the
I
next
right,
Johnny
Luther?
Manziel.
You know what I'm trying to say?
There's
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of people said he's the
Yeah.
next Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, and for a couple years he played like that.
He
He finally woke
29
up.
touchdowns his rookie year.
How many
which is a
interceptions?
record. It's a record.
That's not a record.
It's a record. He
That's-
broke Peyton Manning's record for
What is
rookie
that?
quarterback.
That's a Smokepedia. That's a Smokepedia fact
Well,
right
again, I
there.
think it's very important for the sport. How many times we've seen Teddy Atlas and all these guys just lose their
But y'all know
minds.
that everybody got different views as judges.
Yeah, but like
That's why
Luther
they
said,
said
the
different
eye
places.
test. The
Listen,
eye test.
we know
I
what
get
happened.
it.
We saw his face. His
That's a good
face
point.
looked like he got hit with a bat.
Jim, that's a good
we
point.
saw the
Jerry
punches.
Quarry was a bleeder. You look at Jerry Quarry
Listen,
start bleeding.
we saw
that
the
mean
punch
he lost
count.
the fight.
The guy threw almost 500 punches,
Well, how
landed
come I had it
141.
117 to 1?
Because you were
You're a bad judge.
Yeah, you were a terrible judge. And you were listening to Andre Ward And Tim Bradley, if they're on the commentary, they're always
I ain't
calling for the
watching no
home
quitters.
team.
I ain't
Watch
watching
it
no
with the
quitters.
sound down. Tim
Andre the
Bradley
quitter.
and
And I
Andre.
gotta say something that
Listen,
Luther makes. Go ahead.
Tim Bradley and Andre Ward talked about Oscar Valdez all week.
Right, you
And
knew it
then
was
during
up.
the fight, they did nothing
Right.
but praise him. Company guys, come on, stand up
Luther
on
makes a
something.
good point
Don't
about the
go
emotion.
back and forth.
When I used to watch Vinny Paz fights, okay, when I wasn't there, even when I was there, I said, man, he's losing. And my friends would say, Claudio, he's winning big. And then when I watched the fight without all the emotion
Right.
and all the intensity, I said, damn, Vinny blew him out of the water. So emotion does play a role. Or,
Exactly.
or at a live
Why
audience.
you ain't no brain surgeon.
Oh, gosh.
Me too. But the thing is, like you'll see sometimes a fighter lands a punch, the fans go, ah! And meanwhile,
Especially
you
if you're in
saw,
the hometown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it was just in all honesty, like with the Holyfield fight, they got
Exactly.
through a lot of punches,
And,
but he
didn't-
landed
did
one.
nothing.
I think the ref did
And
a good job.
he
but-
still had Evander wobbling.
Yeah, right,
That tells
right,
you
exactly.
he wasn't
The
fit to
second-
go in the
the
ring.
second round, Evander would have had him wobbling.
The second
I don't
round,
know.
we might have been carrying him out on a stretcher.
Well, that's
yeah.
fine.
That's
too.
what happened.
That's fine.
That's
too.
what you're looking for, Jim. We know it. We know that.
We watch funerals too. There's some funerals that's well watched as well.
Well, anyway,
Pay-per-view.
we don't want that. We don't want that.
don't
We're going
want
to
that
take
at all.
another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a fight that looks like it's going to happen in the welter division, and we're also going to talk about the WBC. They're going to have something called the Big Belt Championships. So we'll be right back to talk about those great topics on the Boxing Authorities. Okay, thanks so much for coming back to the Boxing Authorities. Bob Arum said that on November 20th, I think it's a good fight, and that's Terrence Crawford against Sean Porter. Sean Porter's always in those fights because he's a tough guy who they feel they can beat. Going to test their guy a little bit, nice money. What do you think about that matchup?
Listen,
and are you interested?
I'm very interested in this fight. Sean Porter, every fight he's been in has been competitive.
Exactly.
He's tough. He's in your face. Nobody's ever knocked him out. He's beaten some great guys. I think he has the best resume at welterweight. He's
I'm
fought
with you. He
everybody.
fights everybody.
He
Great
fought
point.
Errol Spence. He
Great
fought
point.
Danny Garcia. He fought Eudenis Ugas. I mean, he has a great resume. Terrence Crawford finally has a reputable 147-pounder. He's moved on from the C-level fighters. Now he's stepping up his game. Hopefully Bob Arum is able to make this happen for him. I think it'll be a competitive fight. Definitely Terrence Crawford's toughest fight at welterweight. I mean, Terrence Crawford is a monster. He's tough, but we haven't seen him face adversity at
Exactly.
147 because he's faced C-level competition, as a lot of those guys do on that. But when he hit Kell Brook, he's a shot fighter. When a guy hits you with a short right, you go through the ropes like this. Come on, this was terrible. Kell Brook is another
Jim wouldn't have
C-level
stopped
fighter
it.
at that.
Jim wouldn't have stopped it.
Referee came in here, guy trying to jump out the ring. Come on, after one
He tried
punch.
to jump out the ring.
Look at him, man. This is Kell Brook, a guy that Errol Spence beat up years ago, and Crawford gets him 3 years later, and he's a shell of himself. It's a shame it took so long for this fight to happen. But Crawford's a monster. I mean, he's nasty in there, but I still worry about his chin.
I think what you're saying is he's done what he's supposed to do against who he was against.
When you're an A-level fighter against
You're
these
supposed to
C-level
blow them
guys, you're
out.
supposed to blow
Yeah,
them out.
exactly.
You know?
Jim, your thoughts? I know you're not a big fan of Sean Porter.
Well, Sean Porter is the most overrated fighter since Ken Norton. Neither of them deserve to be
God.
anywhere near a Hall
Both
of
will get
Fame.
in.
Hey, listen,
They'll
this
get
is a
in,
club
too.
fighter. This is a guy who's a good announcer. I like him on TV. He's a better announcer than I thought. He's a football player trying to be a boxer. It'll be another easy fight for Crawford, who beat everybody that's in front of him. This is a guy that came from the lightweight division. Nobody wants to give the little guys credit, but they can fight too. He's moving all the way up to the
Gamboa rocked him.
welterweight division. And I think this will be a very easy fight because now you have a truly legendary fighter fighting a club fighter.
Well, I think it's a good fight to have. It's gonna get some eyes because Porter's a name, Crawford's a name. But I'm with Luther 1,000% on this one. He's fought the right people. He's done the right things against them to win a belt, to win to build his resume up a little bit. Sean Porter has fought everybody. Sean Porter, number one, is not going to be blinded by the lights.
Right.
He's fought everybody.
Who'd he beat?
He beat a lot of good fighters.
He beat Danny Garcia.
Danny
He beat Udenis Ugas.
He beat Paulie Malignaggi.
He beat
Paulie
AB.
back.
He destroyed Paulie.
Yeah.
No, he didn't
We
just
don't
beat him. He
have-
destroyed Paulie.
We
Oh
got
my
3
gosh,
losses
that was
in the
rough.
draw.
But
was
who
the
did he
losses
lose
against?
to?
That's what I'm asking.
I'm not saying
He lost to Keith Thurman when
Y'all
Keith
keep
Thurman
saying
had
he
all
did
the
it.
belts. He
Y'all
lost
keep
to
saying
Errol
he did
Spence,
it the
who's the
right
king
way.
of welterweights.
Y'all keep
He
saying
lost to
did
Kell
it the
Brook,
right
Crawford.
way.
who at the time.
You said Crawford is building up his resume. He's moved. Luther might not agree.
I
He's being moved.
misunderstood. I misunderstood.
He's
You
being
do
moved.
that a lot, Jim. You misunderstand a lot of things, Jim.
The
But
ref
what
should
you
have
gonna-
stopped his fight
yes,
sooner, right?
The CTE is getting bad, Jim. Listen, Sean
He didn't
Porter.
say he was going to beat him.
Right, I'm not saying he's
gonna
going to
give him a hell
beat
of
him.
a fight.
He's going to give nobody runs over Sean Porter.
right.
Sean Porter's in shape. He's in your face. You're going to know you're in a war
It's
when
going to be
you
an
fight
interesting
Sean
fight. It's
Porter.
going to be a good fight.
Period.
You're going to know you're fighting a club fighter.
Well, okay, let's say
he
he is.
he
but
may have a
when
sloppy
it's-
style, Jim, but it's a difficult style
Right,
to fight.
right.
A guy in your face
Who's
throwing
the
punches.
guy that hired Cosell quit boxing?
Randy Texcott.
Randy Texcott.
Oh, it ain't going to be like that.
Come on,
Nobody
stop.
gonna run over Randy
It's
Texcott.
not going to be like that. Here's the thing I think, and Luther's right. I think at the end of the fight, I think Bob Arum is going to say we can push Crawford more because I really don't believe it's the fighter. I think the fighter inside is going to say I can fight anybody, I can beat anybody. But the promoter looks at it as a business. Maybe he's not comfortable with Crawford moving to that AA list. Well, he's going to fight Sean Porter. If he dominates Porter, Arum will get with his boys and say, you know what? Let's go after Spence now.
I would like
The
I-
winner
I-
gets Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh gosh, here you go. I would like Crawford.
Am I
to leave.
wrong? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I would like Crawford to leave where he's at promotion-wise. He should be a much bigger star at this point.
Make more money.
I don't think Arum has pushed him the right way. I don't think
right.
he's paid enough for solid opponents to come in there.
But do you agree it's
know?
because maybe he doesn't have confidence in Crawford?
No, I believe he just won't invest in.
You think he
in
just wants to
superstars.
stretch it out?
Earl Spence ain't a
He's
big
not-
star. Those guys
gonna
just
pack
ain't
the house.
stars.
He's a pay-per-view star. He fought
The
in
only
50,000
star- only
people in
star is
Dallas.
Canella's making money. You got to
Well,
be.
that's an upper tier money,
Yeah,
without
that's
question.
right.
Without
Yeah,
question. But you don't think
Earl
Spence Crawford?
Earl Spence and Crawford, these guys ain't making no money, no real money. They're not stars.
Jim, there you go pocket watching, Jim. Listen.
Well, that's what you just said. I'm just
Listen, he is a
commenting
big
with
star. I didn't talk about his pockets. He's a big star.
You
Earl
just
Spence
said-
is a big name in boxing.
How
Combined.
about Crawford?
Combined
he ain't
both
no
of
bigger
those.
than Crawford.
Yeah, he's definitely bigger.
Since when?
Have you looked at their pay-per-view numbers? You know, they can't put Crawford on pay-per-view
Yeah, the
because they have
medical,
not
the
done
medical
They have
community
not.
supports him. He's sponsored.
I don't care who's supporting him.
8 out of 10
All I know
doctors
is his last
support
3
him.
fights have been on pay-per-view. Smoking Joe, they
Well,
all
you
done
mentioned Canelo.
well.
Canelo
They
can
have
fight.
all done well.
Canelo can fight anybody. He's going to get
Right,
numbers.
exactly.
Spence and Crawford individually will not, but combined, I think they're going to pack the house. They're going to get some
But
eyes.
listen, here's the
Because
thing.
nobody-
We'll see how big a star Canelo
Nobody-
is. He's been fighting on an app, and the numbers are not released. Yes, he brings in a lot of money. As you pocket watchers keep pointing out, he brings in a lot of money, but are people going to pay for him? We'll see what happens with
because
Canelo
no
and Caleb
fighter,
Plant.
no A-list fighter, like you say, will fight Earl Spence because they don't want to go through all that training just
And that's
for
a
him
good
to
point.
back out.
Well,
he got a history.
or
he
no,
got a
no,
history.
no,
of
That's
get the
backing
numbers.
completely
out.
false. This is the first time this has happened.
Oh, the car
and he had a
accident?
busted
Car
ass
accident
socket.
is the
He didn't
second.
have a fight scheduled, Jim. There was
Oh,
no
my
fight
goodness.
scheduled.
It
What are
was
you
in the
talking about?
works.
There
It
you
was
go
in the
hating
works.
on. You love hating on these these black boxers. Every show you're going to find somebody to hate on.
Is
and
this
Earl
fight?
Spence.
Let me ask you this, and this is a question I've always asked. I'm going to ask even more on this show. Who will boxing benefit if Crawford wins or Sean Porter wins?
Definitely Crawford. I mean, because they've been trying to build up this Crawford-Spence fight for years. It's the biggest fight in boxing. Still, I don't care what Smoking Jim says, that's the biggest fight. 2 evenly matched fighters.
I don't know
that
about the
need to
biggest fight in boxing.
It's-
More than Wilder Fury, AJ Wilder, AJ Fury.
Thank you.
Well, it's right
Not
up
even
there. A
close.
lot of
I don't
people,
think it's that. I don't
a
think
lot
it's
of people
close.
are talking about that fight.
Yeah,
I
but
think
I
it's
don't
the
think
best fight.
I think you could put, like Jim always says about Wembley Stadium, you could put AJ.
We don't
against
even know if
Wilder,
Fury's
Fury.
going to show up, so we'll see. He
He'll be there.
didn't cancel 3 times, so we don't know. We'll see what
But
happens
Spence,
October 9th.
I think Spence Crawford, if it happens, will be at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which I'm
Which is
sure
huge.
it's huge.
It's bigger than
Yeah.
any venue that
Right.
they're going to fight in
But
Vegas.
but I don't know if it's going to have the sex appeal or that big hit that a Fury Wilder Joshua would have.
Listen. Or any of
But
these
it'll be a nice fight,
Listen,
though.
or any of these fights, $1 million pay-per-views? No.
Wilder Fury Joshua.
No, they did not make $1
big
million.
three.
No, Wilder Fury did not sell $1 million pay-per-views. The only ones, Floyd
This
is
is
still.
Luther. This is Lutherpedia.
No, this is all facts. You can look it up,
I didn't
Claudio.
say it wasn't.
Floyd,
I didn't say it
Logan
wasn't.
Paul
I said
was
Luther
$1 million
Bender.
fight. The next biggest fight this year was Jake Paul. Over the last 2 years, those would have been the biggest pay-per-views. Floyd is still the pay-per-view
Oh,
king.
sure he is.
And after that, now
yeah.
Jake Paul is up in there.
Right,
He's getting
that's
$1 million.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
crazy.
So none of these guys. We'll see what Canelo does in November. I don't think it's going to be $1
I
million
don't get
pay-per-view.
the attraction. I know you like him. I don't get the attraction with Canelo. What attracts you to him so much?
Well, first of all, in this country, if you're not boxing is heavyweight. Heavyweight. Everything
Not really
else,
now, not necessarily.
everything else is practice.
People are going to be
Floyd-
interested in Spence Crawford,
Floyd proved.
Until
What did Floyd prove?
Floyd?
No,
Smoker
Floyd
Joe?
always had to have a partner.
No,
He had to
it
have a
doesn't matter
Canelo.
who Floyd
He had
fought.
to have an Oscar De La Hoya.
That's not
He had
true.
to have a partner.
That's not true.
This guy came here to Pittsburgh and couldn't sell out cheerleaders, so don't tell me he's a
And he
draw.
knows about cheerleaders,
Yeah,
Luther.
don't tell me
That's
he's a
more
draw.
fake news from Smoker Joe. The JMZ
But what makes
news.
Canelo great is number one, he turned pro at 15. Boxing is in his blood. He got 7 brothers.
He got a lot of stuff
He
in
got
his
7
blood.
brothers that turned professional. He got 7 brothers that fought professionally.
Do any of them have red hair?
No, I don't think so.
Do any of them still have a
He
lot of
did
acne
it-
going on in the
he
back of
did
their
it the
face?
right way. This
The
is
right
a fighter.
way.
This is a guy that if you really love the sweet science, he got it all. He can do it all. He went from a small guy to a big guy. I think he can fight
And
everybody.
he went from listen, thank you for saying that. He went from a small guy to a big guy. A small guy who had stamina issues to a big guy who never runs out of energy, Jim. How did that happen?
He boxes in his blood.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. That not only boxing's in his blood, in my opinion.
You don't like him?
No, he's
Listen,
good. We
he's a
like him. We
good- he's a
respect
good
him, but we
fighter.
don't think that he is on that level.
And
I mean,
I'm
he's
upset.
A-lister.
I'm upset.
Top 5 all time.
No.
Oh,
And
no.
listen,
No,
I told
no,
you,
no, no, no.
anybody who's failed a drug test is not hitting my top 5.
Well, that's
and
you-
that
you
and that
can-
happened.
You can make generalizations all you want, Barry Bonds.
Listen.
I mean,
Did Barry Bonds ever fail a test? Did he ever fail a
You
test?
can make generalizations all
If
you
you
want.
fail a test, that means you were doing something above and beyond. Come
No.
on
Yeah,
now.
above and
I mean,
beyond.
above and beyond.
All of a
Good point.
sudden, if you're on steroids, you're a killer. You know, you
Well,
can
in
kill,
boxing-
you can
in
kill
boxing,
somebody
you can-
in the ring.
Baseball is one thing.
In
Baseball-
boxing, you can kill
Can you hit a
with regular
baseball?
punch.
Can you hit a baseball when you're on steroids? No, if you can't, if you ain't got the high
True.
hand
We're
eye
not
coordination.
talking-
But you
We're
can hit it a
not
little
talking-
further. I've seen
Yes.
guys barely swinging the ball goes
We
400.
saw Brady Anderson.
You know,
from
8 home
one year,
runs
8
and 50.
to 50 the
There's
next
another
year.
guy
Stop saying that,
who
Jim.
was a shortstop. He's hit 10, 12, all of a
Well,
sudden
name me
37.
any great boxer on steroids that did well. I mean, name 5. 5 great
Well,
boxers.
Canelo-
Well, we don't
That-
wanna
that
mention
knockout-
names.
We don't
knockout.
we don't want to
But
miss
they're
their
there.
names.
Foreman,
No,
all
Foreman-
the
Jim,
knockout
stop-
guys
listen,
were born
stop-
with that
No,
power.
Jim, I'm not going to let you slander these guys unless they fail the test. We can't throw any shade.
No,
their way.
I'm just saying all the great knockout artists were born with that power.
Right, but the
Rocky
guys, what Luther's saying
Marciano.
What I'm saying
using
is you
Brady
can-
Anderson as an example, he wasn't a power hitter,
And then
so he started
became a
taking
power
that
hitter.
stuff. Then he became one. It isn't like these, like if Mayweather all of a sudden started knocking people out.
Well,
Damn,
that ain't gonna
something's up.
happen with the brittle hands.
Listen, but these guys, like you
They
said,
changed.
when they change,
It has nothing to do
stamina
with this
and
one
power
player I'm talking about said he
changes.
adjusted
It gets
his-
better the older you get.
he
the
adjusted
better
his
you get.
swing.
Come
Maybe
on.
some guys just knocking people out. We know Wilder ain't on steroids. Now where's
not.
all these guys? But everybody keeps saying you can kill somebody on steroids.
Yeah, because you're hitting
Where
them.
are they?
You know how many
There's
people?
a bunch
there's
of
a lot-
guys
Listen,
that's been
first of
accused
all,
of
Jim, there was a
steroids
woman
that
that
can't
just
punch
there was a
themselves
woman
out of a
just
wet
got in
paper
the
bag.
ring a couple weeks ago. Jim.
Who?
There was a woman who just died 2 weeks ago in the ring.
Last
year, we had a number, Patrick Day, a number of guys passed away
and there's
last
been guys
year.
in the 40 and
Listen,
the 50s.
Zeb Judah almost passed away in his last fight. And it turns out the other guy had a little extra in his system. And he almost died.
Boy, you get a lot out of Jet Magazine, don't you?
Listen, I come with facts. You come with your Smokepedia. I come with facts. Everything I say can be backed up.
I think it'll be a good fight, entertaining fight. And the big thing is, we're going to come away with it, is Terrence Crawford for real. Not just for real, is he for real. And I think Sean Poirier is going to give him a good test.
That's all we want to see.
The WBC will begin a great event, in my opinion, the Big Belt Championship on September 17th. 4-round fighters. They're going to be fighting 4 rounds with fighters who have fought 6 fights or less. And it's a tournament, flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. I didn't see super middle for some reason. But your thoughts on that series?
I love the series. I mean, these are young guys, 4 rounds. You can go all out.
All out.
Everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. It's going to be nothing but action-packed.
Exactly.
And I love these type of fighters because somebody's definitely getting KO'd. Because these guys are going all out. You know you only have 4 rounds.
You don't have time for 4 rounds.
Yeah, you got to get in there and mix it up. So I love it. It's going to be action-packed.
Jim, your thoughts on this?
Well, Luther loved the Steel City Hall of Fame, and he quit on that. So hopefully they won't quit on this. Hey, listen, Claudio.
You know it's quit time. Nobody quit the Hall of Fame. You're mad because you didn't get in.
All I can say is
I did. Thank you.
All I can say is
Proud
this.
of it.
My dad is older than Cassius Clay. And when my dad watched Tomorrow's Champions on TV, Cassius Clay was 13, and he said, that's going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. The boxing is a great thing because now you'll be able to see up-and-coming fighters that you can follow. And like you always say, Claudia and Luther, you can follow their stories all the way through. So I love it. This is very innovative for the WBC. It's been done before, and it's been successful.
Right. Yeah.
I love it here. And like I said, my favorite champions was always the ESPN champions because you got a chance to watch them from their first bout on.
Right. They go after it. And that's what's so exciting about this. Guys are going to be hungry. They know that this is a big spotlight for them, and they're going to go after it. And I think WBC did it.
They got some heavyweights on there?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I like the
young heavyweights.
Yeah,
I like that.
knockouts
They're going to
are
go
coming.
slugging. Everybody's going to be slugging. So it'll be very exciting. Now we're going to go to our final segment of the day. What? Mailbag. Everybody loves the mailbag. And thank you so much for the questions and continue to send them to us. This one's for me. Did Antonio Inoki really hurt Muhammad Ali in their fight in 1976? And what were your thoughts on the event itself? Real quick, Evander. Antonio Inoki, this is June of 1976 in Tokyo. He laid on the ground and just kept kicking Muhammad, kept kicking him. And Ali swore at him, get up, get up. He said a bunch of things. He wanted to actually fight him. Antonio Inoki just sat back and just kept kicking him. And Freddie Pacheco, the fight doctor, was worried for Muhammad because his legs were getting red and the blood vessels were breaking open. He was swelling up. And a lot of people said that affected Muhammad's legs as his career went on. And I think it did. But that event, what people don't know is Bob Arum, I think, has something to do with it, perhaps. But obviously Vince McMahon Sr. did with the WWF. That card was going down the tubes because nobody was, in Japan, in Tokyo, it was doing well, but not here in the States. Bruno Sammartino broke his neck, fractured his neck in April of 1976 against Stan Hansen when Hansen dropped him wrong. And they begged Bruno while he was in the hospital wearing this vice thing, I forget what they called it. Not like Vinny Paz had, but something else to stabilize him. We need you to fight, or else we're going to lose. Our company's going to go down the tubes. He said, I can't, I almost was paralyzed. I can't fight. You have to. Bruno, as soon as Bruno had made the announcement, I'm going to come back and I'm going to defend, I'm going to get revenge against Stan Hansen. Not pay-per-view, what do they call it back then? Closed circuit blew up. Yeah. And he saved the company, saved the event. So even though Ali Inoki still gets talked about, but it was a lousy fight, Bruno fought Stan Hansen and beat him in a steel cage match in like 3-4 minutes. So that's Claudiopedia, and that's for real.
All right.
All right. Okay, next one. All three of us. Again, Jim from Baltimore, same guy. Would you like to see more wrestlers versus boxers?
Sure, I love the boxer to knock out a wrestler. You know, I'd like to see Kurt Angle and all these guys get in the ring and get knocked out. You know, boxing, like I told you guys, you know, it's all about the social media, getting these younger guys involved. Yeah, let's make it happen. The more boxers, the better.
Well, I always wanted to see Bruno Sammartino wrestle against Sonny Liston. He beat him in the ring boxing. It's an unfair advantage. The greatest guys on the planet are wrestlers, and they're not allowed to. If they can grab you and wrestle you, it's
You're
all
done.
over.
Good
But
point.
yeah, these guys are at a disadvantage in the boxing ring, just like Bruno was against Liston boxing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if he could have got him in his sport,
Right.
he'd have broke his.
And originally it was going to be Muhammad Ali against Bruno. They were offering a lot of money, but Muhammad won $6 million. I think the highest bid was 300, something like that. And that's why Inoki fought Muhammad. But anyway, well, as always, we hope you enjoy watching us as much as we enjoy bringing this show to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. We'll catch you next time.